Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again. And we're watching more Casual Geographic, everyone. Last episode was great. I love you guys are actually watching it a lot now, too. And I really appreciate that. Like I said, a whole bunch of you guys are watching, but you're not subscribed. So get on that, especially if you want to see more of my videos, which I hope I get to do. But anyway, so the thumbnail for this looks scary as hell. Like, it's a damn camel looking like it's got like some sort of gum disease with his teeth or something like that. They always got like nasty teeth and everything though. So I gotta see how you can mess up their day or how it can mess up your day. I'm kind of curious because again, I may know a lot about animals, but there's always something I learn from these videos, from every single one of them. As soon as I watch them, I'm like, I didn't know that. And I love that about these videos. Love learning new things. So, hey, let's not talk about it anymore. Let's just get it to the episode. And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And let's do this thing, y'all.
Right, I'll just check the camera, yeah? Okay. That's right.
What the heck?
Okay, good stuff.
Oh! What? That is fake. That is super fake.
You know they say an average of 100...
Yeah, I promise the lion's okay and the people are alive too. Yeah.
You know they say an average of 183,671 people are added to God's recently deleted folder every...
Don't you just love the Nintendo music? Or just the video game music that he uses in the background. Sometimes it's anime, sometimes it's Nintendo music, though. Especially it's a lot from Super Smash Brothers. Man, but this one's just, what is it? It's Super Mario 64, I think. Princess Peach's Castle or whatever. So, man, I love it. It's just a lot of nostalgia that just goes through you while you're listening to this.
Day. Some of those people retired from life in some of the most outrageous ways possible. For example, vending machines and coconuts sell more real estate in cemeteries than the headliner of Jaws. But what if a can of soda was responsible for ending your way of life without you ever even drinking it? Well, Richard Molesky was the owner of the Tulum Monkey Sanctuary in Mexico, and yes, a can of carbonated diabetes is why I said was. Chicago-born Molesky was a natural animal lover who worked at the sanctuary for well over a decade, where he would become close with a lot of the animals, but especially a male dromedary camel whose name was never released to the public. And every morning while doing rounds, Richard would greet the hum jockey with a can of Coca-Cola. Like clockwork, Richard would show up and the camel would enjoy his favorite soft drink. Well, one day Molesky didn't have it, and from the way the camel reacted, you would think we were talking about a different kind of Coke. The camel proceeded to maul him and even sat on him, which likely suffocated him. It took a rope tied to a pickup truck to pull the steroid llama off of him, but as you can guess, by the time they did, he was... well, a was. Of course, we'll never know exactly what went down because it was between someone who can't talk and someone who won't. But there's a good chance a coked out camel can demand over some sugar water. And I believe it because camels 100% be on that kind of timing. Like, they're chill 90% of the time, it's just that 10% where someone ends the day on a newspaper. Like...
Oh, God, I felt that, man. Like, he just went and whacked right in that guy's face. Oh, man. Oh, did the blood come out too, man? He just got like, BAM!
One time in Rajasthan, India, a man was entertaining guests in his home when he realized he parked his camel outside in a brutal 110-degree heat. That's 43 degrees Celsius for the rest of the world. Well, apparently 6 hours of sun only breeds homicidal intent because as the man tried to untie the camel suplexed him and slammed him into the ground. The camel then proceeded to divorce the man's head from his body using his teeth. It took about 25 people and several hours just to get the camel to stop ravaging his owner's corpse. That's why you don't beef with something that chews on cactuses like candy. Because some animals are very much capable of seeking revenge, and camels are very much on that list.
Wow.
Which shouldn't really be a surprise since high intelligence means some animals have the capacity to experience every human emotion. Which includes putting the dick in vindictive. Even something like an ant can have as much of a revenge arc as a human.
Really?
Kidnapping and slavery aren't foreign concepts to ants, as some species will regularly invade the nests of others, slaughter the workers, and abduct the larvae of the enemy. These captive ants are forced to bring food to their masters, care for the brood, and even defend the nest of the very ants that kidnapped them. Well, in many cases, these slave ants grow up and proceed to destroy as many of the colony's babies as possible. Pretty much they Django a daycare's worth of the pupae of the ants that stole them. In some cases, up to 2/3 of the colony were relieved from life by the former slave ants. It's like I've always said, if ants had nukes, they'd end the entire world in a weekend. And if they were human-sized, our president would have 6 legs. And honestly, ant society is just a video of its own. We are talking about an animal that has a species that'll turn itself into a tactical just to stop the ops from succeeding. There's a lot of animals capable of premeditating and executing acts of revenge. Like you probably already know that crows can remember faces and carry grudges for up to and sometimes over 5 years. But they'll also pass down their prejudices to their children, so you could really catch a feathery fade over something you did to his crow father. The flip side is that crows also remember those who did right by them. So if I ever happen to get arrested, it'll likely be for using Wendy's fries to weaponize crows. But I'd advise you not to underestimate the carnage that comes with beefing with the Black Air Force of the sky. Once upon a time, a man named Shiva Kawat attempted to save a baby bird he found near his home. Despite his best efforts, the chick didn't make it. And even though his intentions were good, all the neighboring crows saw was a past tense baby crow in his hands, and that's when violence was selected. For the next 3 years, he'd get air jumped every time he left his house by a homicide of crows.
Really?
Like to the point where he has scars and has to travel with a stick to protect himself against the aerial onslaught. So basically, if he would have let that baby crow expire, his quality of life would probably be higher. Expiration of life is the only conclusion when you beef with a buffalo. I'm gonna keep this brief because I've talked about them before, but basically the Cape Buffalo is a 1,200-pound John Wick. Not only will injured buffalo literally die trying to drag you down with him, just like crows, the Cape Buffalo will ride for theirs. In 2020, trophy hunter Claude Clayhans took down a massive male Cape Buffalo. But as he and his crew started loading the soul-evacuated buffalo onto his truck, another buffalo from the same herd pulled up and gored him, in the groin no less, which severed his femoral artery and sealed his fate. There have been reports of these trench cows chasing hunters into trees and then camping under the trees just waiting to cut them from Earth's roster. And like I said, it's not just humans getting hunted. Since Cape Buffalo have been known to Uno reverse lions by waiting for the adults to go off on hunts just so they can turn the unsupervised lion cubs into wet spots. If elephants don't forget, then the Cape Menace doesn't forgive. And you'd be surprised at just how many animals are smart enough to pay you what you're owed. Like, I bet you weren't expecting octopus to be in a video like this. Well, roll the tape.
Octopus can get into any...
It turns out octopus and some fish will work together to hunt, and the Squidwards of the sea will occasionally uppercut their co-workers to keep them from cheating them out of...
Again, what is he doing to me with this music? Every single time I want to listen to his facts, I get distracted by the damn music, and it's annoying, but it's also great as well. Freaking Super Mario Sunshine there.
Food. It's also believed that the octopi that have been exploited in the past are more trigger happy with their tentacles. Of course, there's also a good chance that octopi Mike Tyson fish purely out of spite, but punishing someone for someone else's crime technically still counts as revenge. Also, cephalopods can be just as spiteful with each other. Like here, where a female octopus got tired of a male trying to mate with her, so she proceeded to throw silt on his face. And octopus are more than smart enough to aim their malice at people. As researchers will tell you, sometimes octopus will purposely take aim and squirt ink at the very scientists studying them. Not only that, but they'll often have specific people that they like to pick on. One octopus in an aquarium in Dorset, England, got into the habit of super soaking anyone who would walk past his tank. Another octopus in a Santa Monica Pier aquarium flooded the place after she disassembled a valve in her tank, sending 200 gallons of water rushing onto the exhibit and office floors.
What?
And Otto the octopus flashed his middle finger to humanity when he squirted water on a nearby spotlight, short-circuiting the entire aquarium's electrical system. Workers would fix it in the morning, but since Otto would do it at night when no one was around, it took a while for him to be found out. And of course, there was that time a YouTuber tried to live stream herself eating an octopus, but the only thing he fed her was an L. So yeah, octopus have the intelligence to be on timing. But at least with them, the worst case is property.
Again, I thought I didn't think we were gonna get through this entire video with watching the stupidity of humanity, but what? Really? Wow. That's why that scene in The Boys eating that thing, I don't think it would have gone down as easily as it did in that show.
Damage or a suction cup to the face. Things get a lot worse when you piss off the next animal, because tigers are by far the most vengeful animals on the planet. Like, the lengths they'll go to get even is what movies are written about. Like in 1997 when poacher Vladimir Markov shot a tiger and then stole part of its kill. His mistake was leaving the tiger with a pulse. That tiger would get him back, but it wasn't in the heat of passion like the camel. Nah, this John was premeditated. The tiger would stake out Markov's cabin and destroy anything that had the hunter's scent on it. About a day or two later, Markov would return to his cabin where he would be ambushed by the same big cat. That story ended around the same time Markov did, after he was dragged into the bushes and never came out. In another story, a poacher named Baby got put in the dirt by a male tiger in March of 2016. Why is that date important? Well, only a month before, he had murked the female tiger in the same area, leading many to believe that the tiger that packed him up was actually the mate of the cat he had killed.
Good.
And if you need more proof that a tiger taking it personal leads to cuts on the census, the tigress of Champawat literally subtracted 436 people after one hunter severely injured her. But don't think these stories only happen in Asia. On Christmas Day 2007 in the San Francisco Zoo, 3 men effed around and 2 found out. As for the third, well, you can't get a life lesson if you don't have a life. The 3 men had decided to taunt Tatiana, a 400-pound female Siberian tiger. Well, they learned 2 things that day. One is that a motivated tiger can jump well over 12 feet. And 2, the 12.5-foot moat wall wasn't to keep the tiger in, but to keep people out. Because apparently, out was always an option for Tatiana, who Super Mario jumped out of the enclosure and put the beats on all 3 men, maiming 2 of them and turning the third into a chalk outline. So yeah, a wild tiger might be the last animal you want to find out within India, but a close second might be monkeys. Especially since monkeys and dogs.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I gotta say this now. I'm sorry, I don't like monkeys at all. They're fiddly little critters and they're so nasty and they throw their poop. I at least like apes a little bit more because, again, they're more intelligent and yes, chimpanzees are fucking crazy, but like still, monkeys are just the worst, man. They're just little nasty little things. Ugh. Damn. I'm sorry if anybody like monkeys out there. I love animals, but monkeys can go screw themselves.
Have seemingly gone to war against each other. War is debatable because allegedly the monkeys massacred the dogs. According to residents, some monkeys even took to snatching puppies, carrying them up to a roof, and then letting gravity catch the body. And if you believe this story, then you believe that this all started after a pack of stray dogs mauled a baby monkey and the monkey mafia took it very personal. But we actually don't know for sure what caused this mass puppy homicide. Primates will often feed on the ticks living on animals of different species. So it's possible the monkeys weren't trying to get revenge, but were only after the ticks on the dog's fur. But there's also a chance that Cloudy with a Chance of Puppy was 100% intentional, especially since that seems to be a signature move for them. Earlier this year in India, a troop of monkeys jumped a family and snatched their 4-month-old son, who they proceeded to throw off a 3-story building. In a separate attack, monkeys broke into a home and dragged away a 2-month-old who had been sleeping next to his grandfather. The same monkeys ended up drowning him in a water tank. Yeah, monkeys can be malicious when they want to be, but anyone in Japan will tell you that. Because right now, a Japanese city is currently under attack by a gang of Japanese macaques. Since July, nearly 60 people have been attacked and injured in the city of Yamaguchi, and the monkeys tend to go after babies, small children, and the elderly, you know, the light work of the population. And the thing is, the traps they set aren't working because the monkeys don't seem to be after food. They're just doing it. And yeah, while this could be a coincidence, there's also a good chance this is revenge. See, monkeys and really primates in general have a sense of fairness and will lash out when they feel like they've been wronged. In experiments with capuchin monkeys, scientists found that when given unequal portions of food, the monkeys would seem to target and punish the individual that got the unfair share. It actually makes sense for a social animal to actively discourage inequity in the group. But when a monkey feels cheated, it becomes a much more dangerous monkey. In another experiment, one capuchin was given a grape while another was given a cucumber. Despite previously being happy with the cucumber, the monkey seemed to get offended when he saw his peer get a grape and refused to take the cucumber. He even started to become aggressive with his handlers, so yeah, primates don't like feeling slighted. If you don't believe me, jealousy and a birthday cake got this man mutilated by a pair of chimps. So I can't tell you exactly what started the monkey war in Japan, but I can tell you they probably have a reason. Speaking of reason, yeah, I kind of had to talk about that. So you probably know the story, but recap.
I remember you talking about this. I don't know the circumstances for it, though, and I've been waiting to hear about it, you know?
Elephant traveled over 100 miles from a sanctuary and trampled a 70-year-old woman collecting water, only for that same elephant to show up to her funeral and further desecrate her corpse, and this time in front of her entire grieving family. Now, I know I say this a lot on this channel, it's become one of my popular phrases, but this time someone literally got turned into a hashtag. Now, a lot of people have claimed that this woman was involved in poaching and this was just the elephant playing equalizer. I don't want to say that because we don't know for sure, and there's a good chance the woman was just at a worse place at an even worse time for the elephant to show up and turn her into a trend. But here's what we do know. Asian elephants often come into close contact with people, especially farmers, and conflicts often get them injured or put on a shirt. We know Asian elephants often get exploited for logging, entertainment, and poaching, so they have a reason to hate anything human. And we know an elephant doesn't forget. And it wasn't too long ago when an elephant in Thailand ripped a grown man in half and stood over the soul evacuated body for hours after that same man forced him to haul logs in the intense heat. So we know elephants ain't quick to forgive either.
Good.
So with this story, we'll never know for sure if there was cause or coincidence, but let me put it this way. 100 miles and a guest appearance at a funeral is one hell of a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't care, and especially people would probably say, oh, they're not intelligent enough to do it. Yes, they are. And honestly, again, if tigers can hold a grudge, then come on, so can elephants, man. Like, there had to have been a reason. There was no reason for the elephant. Yes, you don't see that happen all the time. You don't see an elephant just kill somebody and then go again and show up at their funeral. This one did, and that's just crazy to me. And yeah, again, I'm sorry if you guys don't like my comments about monkeys and if you disagree, but man, they just rub me the wrong way, you know? They just, like, if I saw them, like, there was a scene, this will make sense. There was a scene in The Last of Us, the video game The Last of Us, where there were just monkeys running around there, and I was like, oh God. What if I'm like the whole time I felt like I was like, man, I shouldn't be following these damn monkeys like the whole time. They just, again, they just really rub me the wrong way, and it's not they're just not ideal, and they're not meant to be pets, which I don't understand why people keep a lot of them as pets, but you know, people be stupid. So yeah. But yeah, again, I love how I had hope that we weren't gonna find like the stupidity of humanity in this one, but man, they found a way. Especially like what is it with people going into a zoo and just thinking that you can mess with an animal and that you'll get out okay? Like literally, I'm from New York, and it wasn't that long ago where this lady just jumped the damn fence and looked at a tiger and yelled at it. What? Again, what I don't understand. Why did they have these, like, there could be stupid people, but why do they have to be this stupid? Well, anyway, this has been That Sexy Nerd Reacts. Please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and man, I could use y'all help. So please, if you're watching this video and you like what I'm putting out there, subscribe and join my community. So anyway, see y'all in the next video.